Welcome, everybody. This is the very first meeting of the Family Diplomacy Initiatives training program. I'm going to explain a little later, but it is kind of a new development in this Family Diplomacy Initiative. We've gone from dialogues to training, and so excited to have many of you involved here. So I'm going to switch over to share my screen and show you a, hold on a second, presentation. So I want to give you guys a sense of the agenda for today. And the agenda is, first, I'm going to do a presentation to give some background, particularly for those of you who are less familiar with who we are and what we do and what this is about. And then we're going to do introductions and questions, and we're still going to merge those things. So you'll introduce yourself, and if you have any questions, you'll be welcome to ask those questions. Feel free to use the Zoom chat if you want to write down your questions as they come to you. You can just use the Zoom chat to just enter the question as you think of it. And lastly, and this is important, we'll spend about 30 minutes. It shouldn't take us that long, but it really depends on everybody's internet connection and so on. We'll do a pre-survey, which is absolutely essential for our ability to be able to kind of measure the impact of this training. This particular phase one of the training is focused on developing your knowledge of citizen diplomacy and of family, and I'll get into the details of that. All right, so I'm going to jump into things here. So that's our agenda. So I want to start off at a broad level. This will sound familiar to those of you who were in on the information session that we had. I think it was June 12th. So some of this is repeated, but some of this is new. We live in an unusual time, you might say, because we're increasingly interconnected or intertwined with each other across the world through the global economy and global communications. But we're disconnected in many ways. We live in different places, and culturally we don't recognize each other, or politically we're quite different from each other. So there's this kind of combination of being connected and disconnected at the same time. And so this creates a kind of a particular problem, and a problem that can be posed as a question, which is how can we, as human beings, get along and cooperate for mutual benefit, given our differences? This is where we come in as an organization. We are an educational nonprofit based in Washington, D.C. in the United States, founded in 2012. Our core goal is to spread learning in everyday life outside school walls. We're particularly interested in building learning communities. And the two learning communities that we're developing are this Family Diplomacy Initiative. And then more locally in the Metro Washington, D.C. area, we're developing a democracy learning community. So I'm going to give you some broad goals that we have as Learning Life. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the Family Diplomacy Initiative, which is what we're doing now. So we at CORE are interested in developing connected, capable, and caring citizens. And so caring means like caring not just for our friends and family, but caring for people outside of our private circles of friends and family, to other people, maybe strangers in the world, but that we have some sort of connection to. Two is that we're interested in kind of developing learning outside school walls. As you guys are probably aware, schooling is very unequal. Some people have very good schooling and other people have very bad schooling. And so the idea is to try to create learning communities outside school walls, which give different people, especially through the internet, the opportunity to learn together. So what we're going to be doing is not just lecturing, but actually having discussions in order to learn from each other through this training. And we're focused on learning what we call signia. Signia is different from trivia. It's a contrast to trivia. Trivia is trivial information, information that's not important, but that may be of interest. Signia is significant information. And so we're going to be focusing on significant information, particularly about citizen diplomacy and about families. Lastly, as I mentioned, we are interested in building learning communities. These are groups of people that are interested in the same thing. In this case, you guys are all interested in citizen diplomacy, you're interested in family, and we're interested in nurturing your connections, your capabilities, and your caring for other people besides your friends and your family. Okay, so the Family Diplomacy Initiative, whereas Learning Life was launched in 2012, the Family Diplomacy Initiative came along in 2016. And our vision is a world in which there is at least in each family one or more family diplomats. And those family diplomats are connected to nonprofits, to governments, to businesses or media. And through those institutions, they're able to advocate for the needs, concerns, and aspirations of family. So we're really, in some sense, trying to change the world by bringing much more attention to families, training family diplomats, which we're starting as of today, and then connecting those family diplomats to institutions so that they can have some influence on decision making. So as I mentioned, the goal is more caring, capable global citizens, but in this case, we're also interested in empowering families by identifying family diplomats and then training them and then connecting them. So this is happening through dialogues, but this year, for the last couple of years, we've done dialogues, but we're now focused on family diplomacy training. So broadly, the vision for the Family Diplomacy Initiative happens in 3 steps. The first is phase 1 is connecting and learning. That was what we were doing from 2016 to the present. A lot of dialogues, a lot of connecting families. In the last couple of years, some of you have become engaged with us. This year, we're beginning phase 2. So officially today, we're beginning phase 2 with this voice and advocate phase, where we're actually just beginning to develop the capabilities of our family diplomats. And then 3, and finally, in the final stage of the development of the Family Diplomacy Initiative, which will come in the coming years, we will begin to connect you guys, if you stick with us, to a variety of institutions, so to media, to governments, to nonprofits, et cetera, and so forth, in order for you to become advocates for families and for particularly the kinds of issues that are affecting your family. So more details about the FD training. First, it's happening in 2 phases. The first phase is this one, going from July 10th to August 21st. That's 7 meetings in which you'll learn about, as I mentioned, citizen diplomacy, as well as the trends, patterns, and issues facing families across the world. In phase 2, from August 28th to October 23rd, we'll be learning more. It will be less about knowledge and more about skill building, and particularly about storytelling. That's going to be an opportunity for those of you who are interested and want to continue to develop a story around family. It does not have to be about your family, but it should be about a family that you know, and to connect that family to some sort of issue that's impacting the family. It can be climate change, it can be gender inequality, it can be war, or whatever else. So those are the phases. In this phase 1, this is essentially the way it's going to work. And by the way, I'm recording this, so you will have an opportunity to see this again and share it with others if you think others may be interested in joining us. So anybody can join, by the way, at any time during this training. However, if you want to get a certificate for completion of this training, that will require actually more details that I'll give in a moment, but it includes kind of making sure that you participate in at least 5 of these 7 meetings. And so, Sarah, I believe you're taking attendance, I'm assuming, because we're actually beginning to take attendance for these things with every meeting. So today's orientation and pre-survey on July 17th will actually begin, and you will meet 2 professors who are lecturers on family. The first 3 meetings are devoted to learning about family, particularly what is family and the demographic changes happening to families across the world. 2 about kinship, rituals, routines, and family narratives. And then 3 about the impact of globalization on families, as well as on migration. I'll tell you in a moment, I'll show you in a moment the people that will be doing some of this, the professors that are going to be involved in sharing this information with you. On August 7th, we'll switch from family stuff to citizen diplomacy. I will talk on August 7th about kind of world trends, power, and citizenship on a broad level. And then on August 14th and the 21st, another person, a professor from the University of Nottingham in England, will be talking about history and the structure of diplomacy, and about citizen diplomacy issues and cases. So speaking of, each of the meetings that we have will be broken into 4 parts. We want to not talk to you in long stretches. And so I've asked the presenters to present for 15 minutes, and then we'll have 25 minutes of discussion, and then we'll do that again. So 15 minutes of presentation, 25 minutes of discussion. So 2 presentations, 2 discussions within 1 meeting, a total of an hour and a half each meeting. So every Sunday. And here are the faculty or the people essentially who are going to be leading these trainings. So Denise Bodman and Bethany Van Fleet are actually a mom and daughter. It's pretty cool because they both teach, and they teach at the same university. And they have a lot to say, and they're really interesting people. Sangeeta Madhavan is a research professor at the University of Maryland, College Park, here locally in the Washington, D.C. area. You, I think, know a little bit about me, but I'm the founder and the director of Learning Life. And then Andreas Fulda is German of origin, but lives in England and is teaching at in the School of Politics and International Relations at the University of Nottingham. I'm going to share with you just briefly, just so that you get to see these people. They will probably, you can learn more about them essentially and I'm going to just share this actually via the Zoom chat. Hold on a second. I'm going to share with you each of their profiles so you can learn about a little bit more about each of them. And here is, so I just posted Denise. Bethany is next. Sangeeta is the 3rd one. The 4th is me, if you're interested in learning more. And the 5th, lastly, is Andreas Fulda, whose website is not working right now at the University of Nottingham. So I just gave you his LinkedIn profile. Okay, so let me reshare my screen and get back to giving you the details here. So some broad principles in terms of the training. We encourage family participation. I know that in a lot of cases, like, it's hard to get family together, but if you have a family member of yours that's interested in learning, they don't have to join us at every meeting, but they are welcome to join us at any part of this, particularly if they want to learn about family across the world. And particularly, especially if they want to learn to become a family diplomat with you. So we also welcome diverse families and family stories. What what we're trying to say here essentially is that we have a fairly broad definition of families, and we'll get into that and the details of that next time, next Sunday. But we want to be a kind of tolerant, open community. So we don't have a narrow concept of family as the relationship between a man and a woman, in part because a lot of families just don't look like that anymore. And so we want to represent what the diversity of families is across the world. And lastly, so we value and reward your commitment. And commitment means that you're actually going to participate in all of these meetings, or as many of them as you can. We actually value your active participation. I'll tell you a little bit what that means in a moment, as well as what we're looking for is to improve your knowledge and improve your skills. So for phase one, we'll focus on knowledge. Phase two, focus on building your abilities as a storyteller, a family storyteller in particular. So training expectations, we're focusing on learning, not judging people, focusing on developing your knowledge, as I mentioned, and for phase one, and then your skill in storytelling for phase two. You should be in this because you care about family, and you want to help to make the world a better place by giving voice to families, right? So this, yes, of course, for some of you, you want to kind of develop your abilities and get resume building experience, but this should be in part because we think that this is interesting and we want to help to build family diplomacy and bring voice to families in the world. And lastly, it's to help us measure improvement. So we'll get into the survey in a moment. Okay, so that's it for my talk. I think I was, yes, I'm even a little under time, which is good. Let's get into introductions and questions. So for introductions, if you could tell us your name, your city, your country, your occupation, and how many people are in your family. And then please, if you have any questions, ask us whatever questions that you might have. I'm going to stop sharing and put this in those things in the Zoom chat. So you have the questions in front of you. Hold on a second. And we're going to just go around to everybody and see if you could introduce yourself. So we'll start with, to my left, Sarah Decaro Rincon.
Hi, everyone. I am an intern with Learning Life, so I am taking attendance. But my name is Sarah. I'm based in New Jersey. I'm a student at Sarah Lawrence College studying international relations. Give me one second. Let me look at other. I'm in my family. I mean, direct family, or my immediate family is just 4 of us. I'm a student, like I said, and I don't have any questions.
All right. Tennille.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tennille. I'm currently in Berlin, in Germany. I'm a final semester student. There are 4 people in my immediate family, but I live in an extended family. But I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. Great. And I don't have any questions. Yeah.
Thanks, Tennille. Beltina, or Belle.
Hi, everyone. As Paul said, so my full name is Beltina Geloshi, but I do go by Belle. Feel free to call me Belle. As I said, I'm calling from Skopje in North Macedonia in Eastern Europe. I was born originally in Albania, but I moved to Italy and I grew up in the US. So I'm a bit scattered like that. My occupation, I'm a PhD candidate, just finished my 3rd year at George Mason University. I'm specializing at the intersection of conflict resolution and social psychology. And number of people, I'm currently pregnant, so that would be me, my husband, and our baby. So the direct one is 3.
Great. Thanks, Belle. And Pierre, Pierre Mako.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the floor. Yes, that's my name, Pierre Mako. I'm joining from Kinshasa, which is the capital city of the Democratic Republic of Congo in Central Africa. I have a big family. I have 5 kids, and I'm an English teacher. Yeah, for today, I don't have any question yet, so that's it.
Cool. Awesome to have an English teacher from Kinshasa. It's great to have you, Pierre.
Yeah.
Joseph
Thank you.
Tolles. Oh, Joe, you have to unmute.
That always helps. Hi, I'm Joe Tolles. I am living in Auburn, Alabama, which is in the southeast portion of the United States. I have I guess an interesting story in that I have 8 adopted boys from the foster care system, and I'm a single father. I am a therapist. I'm supposed to be retired, but that's really not working out. So I do a lot of advocacy for kids in foster care and advocacy for people to understand the adoption from foster care. And I do program development and grant writing and everything else. So, and with 8 kids, you can imagine that that's really not much of a retirement. And I have no questions right now.
Thanks, Joe. And Joe didn't mention, but he sits on our board of directors as well. So Avanti.
Hello, I'm Avanti. I'm currently in New York City, which is in the US. I'm a student. I'm in Internet Learning Life, and I'm a tutor. There are 4 people, myself included, in my family. And I don't think I have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, great. Rosella.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here again and to see you, Paul, again. So I'm Rossella Vulcano. I was born in Italy. I'm Italian, and I moved from Italy to Germany. I was a master student with Finil, that is here in the chat, and now I moved to the Netherlands, where I'm doing my PhD in sociology and political science. I don't have really a question regarding the presentation, more than just a comment. I found interesting how at the beginning the action of promoting was kind of informal, so for social media, for instance, or through speaking to each other. But now I noticed that you even mention NGOs or other companies that can become even other ambassadors. So I found it interesting how he's getting to a kind of formalization of promoting family diplomacy. So I found it just interesting.
Great. Yeah. I'm likewise glad to be kind of developing this. Jenna Lynn.
Hi, my name is Jenna Lynn. I'm from Northern Virginia, or the Washington, D.C. area in the United States. I'm an intern with Learning Life and a student at Virginia Tech University. And there are 6 people in my family.
Great. Let's have Chirunim and your brother introduce yourselves from Nigeria.
Yeah, greetings everyone. Greetings, Paul. I am Ageto Chirunim, reaching you from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. I am a student and I am a writer on the intersections of politics and technology. It's really affecting the world. So this is something I'm doing right now. And we are 6 in my family. This is my younger brother. We are 2 boys and 2 girls.
My name is I am a student of University in Nigeria. I'm a petroleum engineering student. I'm from Nigeria, as you have said,
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you, and good to see you both again. Before I forget, we need to take I need to take a photo of everybody. I usually do this with of all of our meetings. If for those of you who do not have your video on, if you could turn it on briefly. So Leroy or Leroy, Lakshmi, and I believe CS, yes. Just make sure to mute yourselves. Keep yourselves muted. So hold on a second. Let me just, on 3, I'll ask you to smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Awesome. Let me just make sure that was a good photo. Fantastic. Great. Great to see you all on here. Okay, so next we have Gustavo.
Hi, everyone. It's really nice to be here today. My name is Gustavo Carvajal. I am from Costa Rica. Currently, I am in Massachusetts, United States. I have a master's in public policy, and I am currently working as a youth services navigator for a mental health organization here in Massachusetts. And currently, I don't have, I am a former Learning Life intern. So it's really nice to be back. And I don't have any questions today. Thank you.
Yeah, and Gustavo, it's great to see you. Let's have Ite Chonsar. I'm probably mispronouncing your name. I apologize. Ite. Let's see if I can get him to unmute. He may be having issues with internet connection. Ite. Okay, I think he's having issues with internet. So let's go to Chloe, joining us from California in the United States.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe. I live in LA, Los Angeles in the USA, but my family is originally from Iran. I'm still in high school, and there's 4 people in my close family.
Great. Jules Nibayemer, who is joining us from Burundi, and his principal language is French. So I really appreciate, I know that English is not easy for you, so do your best, and if you need me to translate anything, I'm happy to do that, Jules.
Moi, c'est Julien Nibayemer. Je suis avec Nelly.
Jules, you may want to actually turn off your video while you're talking, just so that we can hear you, and then you can turn your video back on. But while you're talking, turn your video off.
Je travaille à l'ONG qui est internationale, qui est internationale, qui a des agences dans différents pays, notamment en Afrique, en Amérique et en Europe.
Jules, we can't really hear you. You're breaking up. So just turn off your video, and then si tu peux éteindre ta vidéo de manière qu'on peut t'entendre. Parfait. Go ahead.
Vous m'entendez?
Je crois que oui, mais tu dois éteindre ta vidéo de manière qu'on peut t'entendre. Ok.
Maintenant, ça va?
C'est mieux, c'est mieux. Vas-y.
Ok. Moi, je m'appelle Nibayemer Gilles. Je suis au Burundi, en Afrique de l'Est. Je suis membre de l'une Family Diplomat Initiative depuis 2016. Je travaille au CARE international dans son agence ici au Burundi.
Okay, attends une minute. I got to translate for those of you who don't speak French. So he's Jules from Burundi. He is He's excited to participate in this. He's been with us since 2016, which is great. I didn't know that. And he currently works, I think, for a US-based NGO, if I remember correctly. I know some things about Jules, so I'm kind of explaining a little bit. Vas-y, Jules.
OK. Aujourd'hui, je me connecte avec mon amie qui s'appelle Nelly. C'est elle qu'on s'est connecté aujourd'hui. Merci.
Okay, très bien. So he's joining with a friend, Melly, and that's who you saw on screen, and she's got the internet connection. Très bien, c'est bien que vous pouvez nous rejoindre. It's good that you can join us, Jules. Okay, Marvin or Quanchao Fan, and I'm totally butchering that, I'm sure. I'm sorry. Sorry, Marvin.
That's all right. So, hi everyone. Guys, I think on my screen shows like a bunch of icons like Xuan.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Marvin.
All right, so you can all call me Marvin. That's fine. So I'm also a former Learning Life intern. I used to do my graduate study in Washington D.C. in international education, and Learning Life was the perfect place for me to do my internship. I have been with the Learning Life since January 2019, and right now I'm in Minnesota, USA. I'm a Chinese teacher here. Originally, I was from China. For my close family, I have 4 people, my parents and my son. I used to be married, and actually my son and my wife used to live in DC together. Many Learning Life friends have seen my wife and son, but we were divorced last year. So now just my parents, me and my son in my family. So I don't have any question now. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Marvin. Let's go to Alex Ravano.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alex. I am originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's in the eastern part of the United States, but I'm currently in Washington, D.C. because I'm a student here. Let me find the other questions. Oh, and I'm also an intern for Learning Life, and there are 5 people in my immediate family: me, my dog, my sister, and my parents. And then my extended family is much bigger. My great grandma had 10 children, and so we have many cousins, many aunts, many uncles. So it's very nice. And I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Wow. That's a lot of people. Let's have Lakshmi, if you would introduce yourself. Lakshmi is joining us from India. Oh, Lakshmi may not be able to hear us. So let's have CS. CS, if you if you could just let us know what your first name is.
My name's Chamali. I'm from Sri Lanka. Currently, I'm in my pupil age. I'm a law graduate. So good to see you all today. I'm from Sri Lanka. If you don't know where Sri Lanka is, it's in this Indian subcontinent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. You guys are having some political troubles.
I heard, yeah, I heard there were some protests.
Yeah. Yesterday, it was the president fled the country, and it's really bad out here now, but yeah. So currently I have a fairly small extended family. We have 6 people in our family, and I don't have any questions. Thank you.
So CS, if you could put in the chat your name, your full name, just write it all out, that would be great, so that we have it as Bell asked. Yeah, it's great to have you. And while you're doing that, can you tell us, how did you find out about us?
Actually, a friend from Facebook contacted me with whether I wanted to join the Facebook group, and that's how it happened.
Great. And this was a friend of yours or a friend of ours?
Friend of yours, not mine.
This is probably
Yeah.
one of our great interns who's reaching out to people. So we're glad to have you. That's great.
Yeah, I'm glad that happened. Yeah.
Good. So let's have Fatima, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Fatima. I'm also an intern at Learning Life. I live in Northern Virginia, which is about 40 minutes away from DC. And I am a student at George Mason University. And there are 3 people in my immediate family. And I don't have any questions right now. Thank you.
Okay, great. Justice, who's joining us from Nigeria, if you could introduce yourself.
Okay, still standing on the existing protocol. Hi, everyone. I'm Umesi Onyekachi from city of Port Harcourt.
Justice, if you could turn off your video while you're talking, then that will make it easier for us to hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, still standing on the existing protocol. I'm Umesi Onyekachi Justice from the city of Port Harcourt, Nigeria, in West Africa. I read BSc Ed Political Science. I'm currently undergoing a national program here in Nigeria. I'm from a family of 7, my siblings and my parents. For now, I don't have any question.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Justice. And let's have, let me see here. Who are we missing? Anna, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Anna. I am also an intern with Learning Life this summer, and I am originally from Massachusetts, but right now I am living in DC for the summer. And there are 4 people in my immediate family, and I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Great. Ite, I think your connection is good, but you may want to turn off your video while you're talking so that we can hear you. It's up to you. Try as you wish. Oh, you have to unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. How are you, everyone? My name is Iti Chowns. I'm from Zimbabwe. It's a beautiful country in Africa, here close to South Africa. Currently, I'm in South Africa. I'm grateful to meet you guys, to be a part of a family which are full of great people. I would love more to get to know each other, and especially to improve and upgrade our lives together. Yeah.
Ite, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? So you're from Zimbabwe, you're currently in South Africa. What do you do in terms of work? And if you could tell us a little bit about your family, how many people in your family?
I was born in a family of 7, and I'm number 5. I'm still a young man. I'm not yet married. My father and my mother, my dad passed away last year, August, but for now we are left with our mother, who is taking care of us. But in terms of working, I'm an Adventist pastor who ministers the gospel around the world. This is what I do for the now.
Oh, you're a pastor
Yes.
as part of a church.
The Seventh-day Adventist.
Oh, great. That's great. Very nice. Well, thank you. How did you hear about us?
A friend, someone who is just popped up me on the Facebook so that I get to connect it with you guys. She introduced to me and sent me the information about how do I have to connect and be a part of the family.
Great. Well, we hope you stick with us through this training. It would be great to have you join us. Okay, so we are switching to Leroy, who was at the information session. So it's good to see you again. Go ahead, Noah.
Hi guys, my name is Leroy from Liberia, from Monrovia, Liberia, West Africa, and I'm a student at the University of Liberia, reading general biology, and I'm from the family of 5 with a single mother, and I'm glad to be here, and I don't have any questions for now.
Great. Thanks, Leroy. And I'll stop pronouncing your name in French when I see it. I'll pronounce it in English since you're pronouncing it in English. Lakshmi, are you able to hear us? Lakshmi may not be able to hear us, in which case we will move on. And I think we've introduced everybody, unless I've got me wrong. Unless I'm wrong, we're going to move on to the surveys, which is the last part of this meeting. And so we're going to do this in 2 parts. I'm going to share my screen to kind of explain it. And I'm also going to give you the survey. Let me see here, the survey instrument. I'm going to share this link this is the link to the survey. But what's very important is that you not start the survey until we're going to do this together. It's best for us to kind of like go through this together. Some of you may not be able to do the same thing if there's 2 things at once on your phones or on your tablets or whatever. So we're going to give you the opportunity to, instead of going to that link, you'll be able to just give your answers to me in the Zoom chat, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. So let me just share in the Zoom chat. I'll share the link. And if you have any trouble getting to the survey should look like this. You should just you're going to go to the Zoom chat, which is this, and click on this, and then look for me. Look for my name. I guess I don't appear to myself, but you'll look for my name and then click on that, and then you'll be able to provide the answers directly to me, not to the whole group. And we're going to do this in 2 parts. So the first part of this this survey are demographics. Demographics basically are questions about like your name, your email, your city, your country, your age, your gender, your marital status. So that's going to go very quickly. And then the last part of this is simply 1 question. And it's we're going to give you all 10 minutes precisely. And it's very important that we keep to that. So 10 minutes precisely. And then you're going to answer the question, this question that we have essentially. I do not expect you to know a lot about citizen diplomacy or about family. The whole point is for us to be able to get a baseline sense of your knowledge in 10 minutes, which is not a lot of time. And then we're going to compare that at the end on the last day. We're going to do the same thing again, a post survey. So pre-survey is now, post survey is after all these training sessions. And then we're going to be able to compare your answers to this 10 minutes of essay writing, essentially, to be able to see how much you've learned about family and about citizen diplomacy. So are there any questions thus far?
Should the current interns be filling this out as well, or should we just leave that to the family diplomat?
Good question, Sarah. Current interns, you guys can fill it out if you plan to participate in the whole training. You have the opportunity to do that, but just keep in mind that the training goes until August 21st. So if you plan to participate in the whole thing and you'd like to get a certificate of completion for it, then yes, please fill out the survey. If not, you don't have to. Any other questions?
Yes, I actually have a question. So this pre-survey, is it different from the one we filled out before, like before we started this training?
Yes. So some of the questions are the same, Chirunim. the questions, like the demographic questions, that's going to sound the same. And the reason why we keep collecting those is every time we have to have the same information in the same survey. And so it allows us to compare, you know, the demographics of our population and the answers and so on. So, but the one thing that's going to be different is this. You've never done that before. And that's going to take us precisely 10 minutes. I'll give you guys 10 minutes for that. Does that make sense, Chirunim?
Yes, it does. It does make sense.
Okay. And just keep in mind with research, like when you're trying to get the impact, when you're trying to measure impact of a program, you have to do surveys. You have to do a fair amount of surveys. And in this case, a before and after survey so that we can compare the two and get to some sense of the impact of the training. Other questions? Other questions?
I have a question.
Yep.
Is this survey timed? Meaning, should we write maybe on another piece of paper first and then copy and paste?
No, so you'll either write directly if you have access, because I think I put it in the chat. If you have access to the survey, which I put here, then you're going to fill it out directly on this on here. If you do not have access to it, you can't do the survey and this Zoom call at the same time, then you're going to put your answers in the Zoom chat. And again, what you'll do is look for me. Let's say I'm Pierre. You just look for me and then write your answers there. You're going to put first your answers, and I'll show you how to do this. We're going to do the demographic questions first. And we'll do them one at a time. I'll just keep going. I'll say, okay, what's your email address? And then next, what's your name? What's your city? What's your country? And you're going to fill that out right here in one message. Because if you write a lot of messages, it just makes it harder for us to kind of gather all this information. So for instance, Chirunim is from, so you'll do one, first you'll put your email. So Chirunim, your email. Let's just say it's chirunim@gmail.com. Then number one is your name, Chirunim Agi Oto. And then number two, I believe, is like country. So you put Nigeria. And then number three is blah, blah, blah. And then so is Port Harcourt, etc. So you'll just fill all that out, all the demographic questions in one message. Then send it to me, and then we'll move to the essay question, and you'll do that in one message, 10 minutes, send that to me, and then that's it. It's simple as that. Is that clear? And Chirunim and your brother, do you guys have you have two different devices that you can use?
We are using one device right now, but I can send him the link to his phone so he can also fill it out.
Yeah, so I think your brother can fill it out perhaps afterwards, because you guys should fill it out separately. Each person should fill out the survey separately. So, but just remember that besides answering these demographic questions, this question at the bottom, you should answer it first of all today, if you're not going to answer it immediately, and this is so all of you should answer it now, but in the case where you only have one device, one of you will have to do it afterwards, Chirunim, and then but do it today. And for this question, you do not, it's very important, part of the reason for having you guys do it now is you should not look up any information. Do not go to the internet and start looking up information to try to look smarter and so on. Do not cut and paste information from the internet into this. We're trying to get what you know inside your head right now, not what's on the internet. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Any other questions? All right, so we're going to start, and hold on a second. Let me just get rid of that. And Pierre, did you send me a message, Pierre? So the link. So Leroy, if you have problems with the link, yeah, so by all means, the link is there. You have the link. I think everybody's questions have been answered. So okay, and then for parents' education, I'm not sure, Joe, what you mean by unknown for education, but in any case, just write or enter whatever you think is most appropriate for your own education level. Okay, so we are going to start this. So go ahead, and if you're on the actual form, you can start filling out the demographic questions and go ahead and fill all those out, but stop. Do not fill out the last question, which is question 12. So stop and don't fill that out as yet. Just fill out the questions 1 through 11. So for those of you who are typing your answers into the Zoom chat, I'm going to just go through these questions one at a time. So you should first just keep in mind putting in one message to me only. Enter your email first. And you can slow me down if you need me to go slower. Then enter your first name and your last name.
Please come again, please.
Yes. So if you could first enter your email.
Okay.
Justice, first enter your email. And then your first and your last name. So Justice, you would put Justice first and then your last name. And then number 2, put number 2. Number 2 should say, so number 1 is your first and last name. So you put number 1 and then your first and last name. Number 2, the country you live in. Then enter number 3, your city that you live in. So number 3, and then put your city. And then number 4, put number 4, and then your age. You can put your precise age if you want, and we'll just put it in the correct category. Number 5, I'm going to keep moving. Tell me if you need me to slow down. Number 5 is your gender. Are you male, female, or other? Number 6 is your marital status. So are you single, not in a relationship, single in a relationship, married, divorced, or widowed? Married, divorced, separated, or widowed. Number 7. So you should enter the number 7. Have any members of your family agreed to participate with you in this year's live family dialogues? And if so, how many? If it's none, you can put 0 or none, or just 1, 2, however many people are planning to participate. Number 8 is your educational level. What is your educational level? And you have all the answers here, answer choices. So you should indicate which one of these answer choices is the correct one. Okay. Any questions about the education level? You should answer. You should be entering one of these answer choices for us. Number 9 is, what is your mother's education level? So what level has your mother completed? And if your mother passed away, the same thing, or if your father passed away, indicate what their education level was, their highest education level. Same thing with your father, number 10. So put number 10 and then your father's education level. And last, if you could put your occupational category. In other words, if you're a student, write student for number 11, or if you're not currently employed, you can write unemployed. Or if you have a job, there are a whole set of categories here. Choose the correct category and basically write it into the Zoom chat. Or if you're in the survey, just click the right one. And I'll just go through these here and you can pick one. Does anybody have any questions about the occupation categories or trying to see which one fits you? Okay, so I think everybody has finished all the demographic questions. Is that correct? Let me know.
Paul,
Yes.
there's Esma. She's asking if to verbalize the categories because she's blind and cannot see the screen.
Ah, that is an issue we have not come up with before. And thanks for Belle for bringing that to my attention. First to your question, Belle, you right above, you said, for those of us that only have one parent and have no knowledge whatsoever of the other, how would you like us to answer? Good question. I should have probably had a not applicable. And my apologies for that if it wasn't applicable in your case. And so what you should do is just send me a note in the Zoom chat that says, I don't have such and such parent, not applicable. And then I'm going to edit the survey to add that answer choice. If that's the case for any of you, please put that in. Go ahead and message me privately with whatever information you think doesn't quite fit the survey. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. So Esma, let me see here. So I think that what I'm going to do, Esma, is I'm going to connect you with one of our interns and have them go through the survey with you. And that'll be probably the simplest thing to do. Esma, can you put
If this is a Google form, it's okay. Like if she can, for example, if Jen can send me the link of the Google form, I could do it as well.
Oh, okay. So you
Or
can
if
do a
it's
Google.
SurveyMonkey is also pretty accessible for screen readers.
Okay, gotcha. So you can do a Google form.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So let me just resend you. I'm going to do that right now in the chat. I'm going to resend you the link for this this Google form. Let's see if you can get it. So I just sent it via the Zoom chat. Did you see it? Did you see it or have it? Esma, you have it?
Yes, I opened it. Yep, thank you.
Okay, great, perfect. So do you need any help with filling it out or you're good?
I don't think I should. I would do it.
Okay. Yeah, please do fill it out. If you plan to participate in the training, it's important for you to fill it out and to fill it out today because we need basically your knowledge baseline now so that we can compare it to your knowledge after the training. Okay, so we are done with all the demographic questions. I'm going to give you guys, and so the reason, I just want to reiterate, why are we doing this right now, right here? Partly to ensure that you actually do the survey, but it's also to ensure that you're only taking 10 minutes. The reason why is to be able to compare from point A to point B. So before the training and after the training, one of the bases of comparisons is going to be what you can write in 10 minutes. So if, for instance, you take 20 minutes on one and then 10 minutes on the other, we can't really compare that because you're going to be writing a lot, maybe a lot more if you're taking 20 minutes. So that's why it's very important for you to take exactly 10 minutes. And that's why we're going to do it right now. Is everybody ready to write? And Esma, if you just joined us, just to be clear, you're going to write either in the, if you want to do the survey on the Google form, you're welcome to do that, but you should fill it out right now, in the Google form right here in this answer number 12 or question number 12. If you cannot do it right now, then just please do it right after our meeting. And you have to give yourself only 10 minutes. So in other words, you have to time yourself and give yourself only 10 minutes to write. Now, for those of you who are writing, you may think, wow, 10 minutes is a lot of time. Well, just think and focus on the question that we're posing, and spend that time just focused on thinking and writing about the question. So it doesn't mean you have to write for the whole 10 minutes. It just means you have to write and think for the whole 10 minutes on that question. Okay. Is everybody ready? So to clarify, for those of you who are on the form, this form, you're going to fill it out right here. For those of you who are not on the Zoom form, you're going to fill it out through the Zoom chat. So you should send me a separate message. So send me your demographic questions now, all in one message. And then afterwards, you're going to send me your answer to this question, 10 minutes, in a separate message via the Zoom chat. Okay. All right. If everybody is ready, hold on a second. I'm going to turn my clock on and set the time. All right. And let me stop sharing this and have everybody on screen here. Okay, so, and Simon, you just joined us, and Dennis, you just joined us as well. I'm going to explain this to you via chat quietly while the others, so we don't distract anybody. You have to be quiet during this 10 minutes and let people write. And so I'll explain what you need to do in the chat. If you want to participate in this training, you're going to need to fill out a survey. All right, everybody, if everybody's ready for the essay, by the way, the question, if it's not clear, is what do you know about citizen diplomacy and the patterns, trends, and issues facing families across the world? Okay, that's the question. All right, so I'll put the question in a moment, but we're going to start now. Go ahead and start. You have another 5 minutes. Guys have 1 minute. Okay, go ahead and stop. Even if you did not fill out where you can complete your sentence, but just go ahead and stop. And once everybody's stopped, if you could use the this reaction button and just put the thumbs up on the reactions button. Great. It seems like everybody is done. So thank you for going through the survey. It's really important. Any particular thoughts that you had coming out of the survey and what you wrote before we finish?
Yeah.
Leroy.
I wrote that.
All right.
Oh, hold on, Esma. Leroy, go ahead first.
Okay, I wrote that family diplomacy have to do with understanding that everyone has the right to express themselves or to participate in global event or in any other event. It should not only be restricted to a particular event. So you give the person the right to take part in any other event that will allow them to express themselves and to, speak out their minds. So these are things that I wrote in mine.
Great, good. Thanks, Leroy. Esma, and Esma, would you remind us where you're joining us from?
Me, I'm joining from Tbilisi, from Georgia. So I wrote that like in peace building, like they teach that there are, let's say, 3 tracks of diplomacy. Like track 1 is, government officials and like diplomats who are supposed to do this as a part of their job. Then part 2 is like track 2 is civil society representatives, I don't know, people who are active in civil or like activism or whatever, scientists, researchers, or other professionals. And like track 3 is regular people who may be in contact with each other from different countries or different communities, who may be in contact with each other due to trade or, I don't know, some entertainment or family ties.
Yep. So Esma, good. It sounds like you already are learning about diplomacy and citizen diplomacy and where that fits in and so on. So we'll be talking more about that, but it sounds like you're coming into this with some knowledge already, which is great. Any other thoughts about the survey or your responses and so on?
Yeah, I was grateful to answer that question because I was taking into the family issues and the answers that we have to bring, especially in our families, and become the answers of even our countries and our societies where there is a great need, especially our young people who are growing. We need to be young people and the people who are building our future and have a greater future, especially in the heart, to provide the better world for us.
Yeah, well said, Itei. Am I pronouncing your name correctly, Itei?
Yeah, it's just Itai.
Itai. Okay. Itai.
Yeah, Itai. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you, Itai. Mulba is actually joining us from Liberia. Came late because there were connection problems for him in Liberia. Mulba, do you want to briefly introduce yourself, your family, just briefly, and then if you would, I'm going to send you in the Zoom chat a link to the survey that you need to fill out today. And you have to give yourself 10 minutes for precisely 10 minutes for the essay, the question 12, the last question. But go ahead and introduce yourself now, if you would, Mulba.
So let me say good evening from Liberia. I don't know whether you get me first. I have a response if you get me clear.
Yeah, Mulba, turn off your video while you're talking so that we can hear you better.
Okay. So I I was just greeting you guys. Again, let me say good evening from Liberia. Good evening from Liberia. So I don't know if you're getting me clear. Please let me have a response. Paul?
We hear you.
Okay, so again, I am Mobile Isaac Flomo for those of you that don't know me. And so I am a Liberian. I'm also currently residing in Liberia. And Liberia is actually divided into 15 sub-political divisions. For other places, they call it districts. So ours, because we are a Republican form of government, so ours is actually counties. So I'm in the nation's capital. So if you hear about Monrovia, it is where I'm joining you from. So of what I know, because as I said the last time when we firstly met, I grew up in a family where it has been unfortunate for me. I was a kid when I lost my biological mother and father. So I will only give you information based on what people have told me. So I'm from a family of 8. My mother had 8 children, but from father's side, I don't know really how many children he bear outside. But between he and my mother, I am the only child. So we have this culture in Liberia where fathers are often allowed to have as many wives as they want to. It is a kind of thing, and most times, like people will say, some cultures will say it's bad, but it's hardly in Liberia. So I'm one person who was unfortunate to have formed part of such a family. And my father was a traditional leader. So in Liberia, the traditional leaders, more of like, we call them zoes. So if you hear a person is calling his name or her name and hear zo or da zo, so it just means that that person is actually from a traditional background most times. So my mother was also a traditional leader. And so from the side of the women, because the men traditional leader are often called the zoes. So the women traditional leaders, I call the dazo. So my mother was also a dazo. So, but like I said previously, I was unfortunate to have formed a part of a family that I don't have much information about, because even myself grew up by myself. I was a kid when I left my siblings because they were not that interested in the formal education. So like where a person will go to school, what we call ABC or nursery, and then be able to get to a level where they will go up to grade 12, college or university. My parents or my siblings were not that interested until later on when they started to see that I was going that far. And so almost everyone started to get more interest. But again, I grew up with people from different backgrounds. So I didn't really grow up with my siblings either. So we were 8 from the history given me. So 3 boys, and the rest of them were females. So, and then out of the 8 children, we are currently 5, but then one of them is also facing a kind of psychological problem. So in Liberia, we say like the person is not too sound. Like you are not that mad, but at a certain point in time, you make some funny decisions. So one person is situated in that kind of a condition because, and that's as a result of the civil war we went through. So according to the information, she had a man, her husband, who was killed before her, and that led her to being faced with the situation she's currently going through.
Okay.
So yeah, we were all
Mulba, hold on, because we actually don't have much time left, and we want to just briefly introduce Sammy from Pakistan and Dennis, who I don't know where you're joining us from. So Mulba, thank you for briefly kind of introducing your family. We'll have lots of opportunity to talk more about family. Dennis, if you could go next, introduce yourself. Dennis Paul Wamboko, briefly. Oh, Dennis, you have to unmute.
Sorry. Thank you for welcoming me here. Good evening from Uganda. I hope everyone's nice. It's a nice time to meet you here. It's my first time to be here. I'm Dinspo Wamboko from Uganda. That is the Eastern Uganda, it's Mbale district, the city also in Mbale. I'm also a founder of a small NGO called Offering Foundation UAY organization. I'm glad to be here. Of the family, my family comes from the tribe in Uganda called Gishu. Then we are big family of 18 family members. I'm glad to join you here. We shall be sharing more.
Wow. You have 18 members of your family?
Yes.
18. 18. Wow. Okay. That is big. That's, I think, the biggest family we've heard. That's pretty awesome. Thanks, Dennis. I'm glad you're joining us from Uganda, and glad that you filled out the survey. Sammy, joining us from Pakistan. If you could likewise fill out the survey today, in fact, when you get off this call would be great. And just make sure to give yourself 10 minutes to think and write about the question the last question in the, that's the knowledge question. It's the most important question in the survey. So give yourself 10 minutes to fill that out. If you can fill it out today, but introduce yourself and then we're going to close things off.
Okay. First of all, I'm really thankful to Paul and thankful to all of you. And I'm really sorry that I have joined it so lately. And the reason that my internet wasn't working well, so that's why. So I would like to introduce myself. Like I'm Noman Sami, and basically by profession, I'm a journalist and working in several media organizations. So that's what, and let me tell you about my family. So my family is a bit, it's not that much extended. Like it's a kind of extended, but we have nearly 16 members in my family. So, and we are living in a underdeveloped area that is called Peshawar. I hope you have heard about it because it's a very beautiful city. And it's basically the capital of KPK, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. It's a district in Pakistan. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm also working with multiple organizations, such as like working with Canadian. Last time I have received a Canadian award for making a documentary on harassment, female institutional harassment, and recently I got first and second position. First position from Multiomics, that is linked to the American organization. And that was based on documentary, on food documentary, and after that also I'm a photographer. So that's
Sammy,
all. Like
great. Sammy, thanks. Can you tell us briefly how many people live in your household? How many family members?
Okay, so if I'm telling you about my family, so it's not that much extended, but we can say it extended family. Like we are 16 members. I have my parents and my brothers, my sister-in-laws, they are living with us. So and their children. So it's a bit like 16 to 18 members.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Sammy. We're gonna have to close things off. I appreciate you guys being here for the whole time. For those of you who are here for the whole time, and for filling out the survey. So just remember, for those of you, Sammy included, if you've not filled out the survey, please fill it out today. And you have the link in the chat. I'm going to take one more photo because we actually now have a larger group of people who are joining us. So if you could turn on your video briefly for those of you who do not have it on as yet. And in just a couple of seconds, I'm going to ask you on 3 to smile. So on 3, 1, 2, 3, smile. And let me take another photo just in case. On 3, 1, 2, 3, smile. Perfect, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you, hopefully all of you, next Sunday for the real beginning of this, and you'll meet 2 professors who will be talking about family, what the meaning of family is, et cetera, and so forth. So I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.